After 6 days, Jesus took Peter, James, and John, his brother, and led them up a high mountain by themselves. And he was transfigured before them. His face shone like the sun, and his clothes became white as light. And behold, Moses and Elijah appeared to them, conversing with him. Peter said to Jesus in reply, Lord, it is good that we are here. If you wish, I will make 3 tents here, one for you, one for Moses, and one for Elijah. While he was still speaking, behold, a bright cloud cast a shadow over them, and then from the cloud came a voice that said, This is my beloved Son, with whom I am well pleased. Listen to him. When the disciples heard this, they fell prostrate and were very much afraid. But Jesus came and touched them, saying, Rise and do not be afraid. And when the disciples raised their eyes, they saw no one else but Jesus alone. I love that Peter is so quick to say, hey, this is a good thing that we're all here. Let me make these tents and let's just stay here. Because I think that a lot of times that's the temptation when things are going well spiritually and everything. It's just like, hey, it's good, let's stay. But then as this next one begins, they were coming down the mountain because that's not why Jesus came. Jesus didn't come to live on top of a mountain with Elijah and Moses and these 3 guys. There was other things to be done. As they were coming down the mountain, Jesus charged them, Do not tell the vision to anyone until the Son of Man has been raised from the dead. Then the disciples asked him, Why do the scribes say that Elijah must come first? He said in reply, Elijah will indeed come and restore all things. But I tell you that Elijah has already come, and they did not recognize him, but did to him whatever they pleased. So also will the Son of Man suffer at their hands. Then the disciples understood that he was speaking to them of John the Baptist. When they came to the crowd, a man approached, knelt down before him, and said, Lord, have pity on my son, for he is a lunatic and suffers severely. Often he falls into fire and often into water. I brought him to your disciples, but they could not cure him. Jesus said in reply, O faithless and perverse generation, how long will I be with you? How long will I endure you? Bring him here to me. Jesus rebuked him, and the demon came out of him. And from that hour the boy was cured. Then the disciples approached Jesus in private and said, Why could we not drive it out? He said to them, Because of your little faith. Amen, I say to you, if you have faith the size of a mustard seed, you will say to this mountain, Move from here to there, and it will move. Nothing will be impossible for you. I know it skips 21, but if I remember correctly, it says, But this kind come out only by prayer and fasting, or something like that. But it's disputed. Anyway. As they were gathering in Galilee, Jesus said to them, The Son of Man is to be handed over to men, and they will kill him, and he will be raised on the 3rd day. And they were overwhelmed with grief. When they came to Capernaum, the collectors of the temple tax approached Peter and said, Doesn't your teacher pay the temple tax? Yes, he said. When he came into the house, before he had time to speak, Jesus asked him, What is your opinion, Simon? From whom do the kings of the earth take tolls or census tax? From the subjects or from foreigners? When he said, From foreigners, Jesus said to him, Then the subjects are exempt. But that we may not offend them, go to the sea, drop in a hook, and take the first fish that comes up. Once its mouth is opened, you will find a coin worth twice the temple tax. Give it to them for me and for you. I love the way that Jesus is like says it before he even has a chance to ask. Like that he already knows this is brewing and this question is in his heart and or this value like assessment, like is this what we should do or not do? That Jesus is like gets ahead of him and says, you know, so what do you think? And kind of makes him think about it in a slightly different way. And then also that it says, but that we may not offend them. Because sometimes, especially these days, I know, believe me, I am shaking my fist at the world like every day. And sometimes like two fists and a foot. Like I'm just mad at the world a lot of times. It's very difficult. Every day. I'm sorry, I didn't use my holder thing because I don't have time today. Anyways, so my camera's all wibbly wobbly. Um, but I think that sometimes we can try and hold the world to the biblical standard. Well, it's always, 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 always going to fall short because even those who follow this, like me, I follow this. This is my standard. I fall short every day, and so people who don't even this isn't their what they're shooting for. It's like it's frustrating. And so if we have standards that are like in a workplace or in a you know when it comes to politics or whatever, we have these things like it's not for us to try and change the world and make them follow our standard. Our calling is to bring the good news and let the Lord do what he's going to do. And that doesn't necessarily mean he's going to advance our causes. Even if those are good causes, the Lord sees the whole picture better than we do, and his ways are not our ways. And so I just like that like that he says, but that we may not offend them, go and do this. Like there will be provision for it. So there's a lot of ways I think this translates into real life, but I will stop here because I can get going. I know.